And here she is, the 1974 Climatrol was still working when I decommissioned her. Took a little bit of work to get her out the closet. Fan motor still works. This is an aftermarket fan, but gotta save this for other units. And when you hear they don't make them like they used to, that's a very true statement. And here's the new unit. It fit without taking out the door jamb. Still got to get some sheet metal. Well, I've got the sheet metal, but we've got to find a way to adapt this, insulate it, and tape it. We're already brazed in 3/8 and 5/8. Also got the back wall cut out for access to the back. Screws, tape, insulation, whatever it takes. Still haven't wired it up. And that's why HVAC techs get paid so much. They do all the AC stuff, then they still got to do the wiring, electrical, thermostat, heat pump, plumbing. And this is some of the sheet metal I was thinking about using. This one's already insulated. Pretty good gauge. This one's a little bit floppy galvanized. This one's a little bit thicker gauge, no insulation. And of course the old cover could also work. And here's the condenser all brazed in. Shraders are back in. Gotta extend this drain. We're gonna be reusing the old whip. And we also have our new low voltage wire pool. You see I did everything a little bit different on this one. Left all the braze joints easy to access and the capacitor and electronics. You get a little bit more walkway through here. And I did pressure test her up to 200 PSI. Got no bubbles. I'm hoping by the end of the day, I won't have any window units anymore. I think I'm gonna try to use this metal first. Guys, right when I was about to cut that first piece of metal for the plenum, I decided to come outside and do this before it gets up to full temperature today. So we're gonna go ahead and wire up the outside unit. The ground, got the spot for it. I'm gonna try to keep all the reds on the red side, even though it doesn't matter. This is gonna be a heat pump, so we are bypassing it. We're only using 2 wires from the thermostat or from the air handler. We're gonna be using blue and yellow from the air handler. First blue is gonna be common. It's gonna go to one side of the contactor. You see the yellow wire is connected to this blue pink on the side of the contactor. Now these 2 blacks right here are gonna go straight to the contactor also. This is gonna be the reversing valve. The same 24 volts that triggers this contactor. It's also gonna trigger the reversing valve at the same time. I also did the bypass a little bit different this time. I left the hard start kit in the system, so I didn't touch any wire from the hard start, the relay, or the capacitor. This wire I did add to the contactor. That's because this is the fan wire that was connected right here, which is an output from the defrost board. So when you do bypass this, you do have to run the fan straight to the contactor. All right, you see the whip just goes down to disconnect. It's in the off position right now, upside down. Breaker is off still. I stepped the drain a little bit just with a coupler, extended it, and got it right here right now. I'm probably gonna leave it under the machine. And we're using K-Flex Titan to insulate the line. And this one's actually rated for outdoors, so it lasts a lot longer. Let's see what happens to the other ones. Right, the reversing valve wires are right there. And it's 2 thin black wires zip tied together, and I just traced it all the way to the electronics area. This is why I've been changing the ACs lately. This one's got a fan spinning. No coldness to the line. And we got 5 on it. It's always good to verify that your tool works. And it says 14.9, so cap's bad. 25.5. We gotta test it. What are those ants on there? Yeah. 25.5, that should be good enough to put that one back together, right? It's gonna be the 4-pin common, 3-pin ERM. 24.3, that'll be good for a day. I'm gonna leave the cover off and everything. So So on the capacitor, we got the run side, which is also called common, on the 4-pin. 2 pins for the fan, the 3 pins for the compressor. So we got the blue on there. It's getting cold. Oops. All right, where were we? Let's get to this drain. Drain that goes outside beside the new condenser. We're gonna 90 it right here, clamp it on, try to get it somewhere around this area. All right, this is the best contraption I could find. 90 degrees, still has a lot of play. Going to a slow curve. Flexible PVC here. And the main reason I use this flex PVC is so we can put a T here in the future for whenever this one gets switched out. But it's running all the way up right now into the second floor, the PVC 3/4. Here's where our 10-foot PVC came up, right beside the water heater. Everything's tucked really nice to the left side. I'm planning on using this one on the left drain to plug it. And on the right drain, I'm gonna use this, a 90, to keep everything really up high, so no pipes are anywhere low. This is where the drains are located. A little change of plan here. I'm gonna go to straight 3/4 threaded. So that way we don't have to stop in a certain spot with that 90. All right, here's the final result. We plugged the first drain, spaced out the second drain, put a 90 on it. Back here in the corner, got another 90, and then a 3/4 ball shutoff valve to isolate the system from the drain. Goes through a trap, into a T, down to the main drain, and we have an access port right here on top. Now we're gonna try to flush the old drain. It's gonna fill it up with some tap water. So we got some water down the pipe, and the way we're gonna clean it out is with the Gallo drain gun. So use the CO2 cartridges, just pop it in, make sure the O-ring's good, and there's a puncture needle up there. Tighten it. You don't wanna over tighten because you can mess up this O-ring. Just wanna make sure it punctures and seals so you can hear it puncture. That's the puncture and a decent seal. Remember, it fits in a 3/4. The valve in the back is off, the 3/4 ball valve, so no air should be able to go to the air handler. Back there you can see the ball valve is closed, not letting any air go into the air handler. Now I'm gonna make sure we open this. System should be fully functional. Time to start on the plenum. I'm going to be using the Malco 10 snips that you can put onto an impact. This version is alright. They make another version that wraps down to your battery or to the back of your impact where you don't got to hold this handle. Pretty clean cut. Piece number 1, we're going to do the back. We're going to do the right side and the left side first, and then the front and back. See this side, I'm not going to be able to get screws in it, so I'm just going to tape it right back here. And all the rest of them, I think I can get self-tappers in. And here's the view from the back. Got tape up here already. Self-tappers on this side. I think we just need 2 of these cardboards made out of metal. Just finished taping her up, and it took at least half an hour just to get to all this back stuff back here. Remember, a lot of this is screwed on, so all this tape is doing some sealing, some air sealing. I'm gonna be using the thick stuff. Duct insulation, 2 inches thick. Somehow we got it around the plenum adapter in one piece. It barely fit through this gap on this side. And then just taped up together. One big loop. Time to get back to electricity. We got the old wire here. We still kept the old clamp on it. Busted out the knockout for the new unit. Everything looks like it's gonna reach, which is a good thing. Sometimes these end up a little bit short, but we lucked out here. Tuck test. And up top, right beside the main power, is gonna be a spot for thermostat wiring. Little rubber grommet. We're gonna push the 18.7 down there. It should follow this little channel. Oh, there's a little hole down here. There it is. And I'm still finishing up the wiring, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this vacuum started. I'm plugging to a GFCI extension cord tied to the faucet. Remember, we are on the second floor. Stilly tied together so it won't come loose, and I'm gonna drop it out this window. Whoa. Got the vacuum plugged in. We're gonna vacuum through our gauges. We do have the Schrader cores in too. All we're gonna be vacuuming is the line set and the evaporator, not the condenser. So this should go pretty quick. Got the suction line clamp on and the liquid line clamp on. And over here we got the micron gauge with shutoff valve and the high side with a shutoff valve. We'll go ahead and pull a vacuum. Oh, forgot to take the lid off. Open the valves all the way. Make sure we're tight. And we have this one on for backup. So do that wiring. All right, remember that black wire I ran down? That's gonna be the 18-7 conductor. We're only gonna use 4 wires, white, red, green, and blue. And all we're doing is extending these wires from inside the unit up and outside the unit to right here. From the thermostat, we're just going color for color. Red, white, green. This is a blue wire, but it really is yellow. Yellow switches to blue. So we'll pretend this wire is yellow. So yellow to yellow. And that goes outside to control the condenser. That's the condenser switcher. And then here's just the common from the transformer. Blue wire. If you remember the condenser, we just use 2 wires, yellow and blue. We're going to use conventional wiring on a heat pump. Then you can put a float switch in here. Well, it's really easy to get to these wires and cut the condenser circuit off. To go check on that vacuum. We got the cover back on, fully insulated the suction line. I'm going to go ahead and put the fuse back in. Hopefully don't have to touch any of this. This is where I have that yellow and blue coming from the upstairs air handler. It's just spliced in right here just in case we need some of these extra wires for this unit. And here's the PVC where it ended up. This is where we are on the vacuum. 390 on the CPS gauge. 437 on the field piece. Alright, so got the gauges closed, the vacuum off. We're at 648 up here after about 10 minutes. We're still at 380 down here. Go ahead and isolate the valve. Pretty much this is just so refrigerant doesn't go into it. The gauges are hooked up, leave this valve open. And now the fun part. I think I'm probably gonna hit that gauge. Different angle. Don't hit the gauge. Oh, I did hit it. Still fine. Everything stayed tight. Went up a little bit. Right there, a little bit of tension. Our starting static pressure, 251. Make sure we got the breaker or the disconnect connected correctly. We'll run upstairs. Go ahead and shut these off. All right, nice and quiet. No pops. No pops. All right, set 72. We'll put on cool. Shoot it down to 66. See what happens. Oh, here's something. So we're already pumping. And blowing. That's it spinning down there. And really nice and quiet, real smooth. A lot of heat pumping out. You see our numbers are out of whack because of that extra line set. Needs a little bit of a charge. You got to get to a 10-degree subcool, and we're somewhere around 1.5 right now. You see our saturation's only at 40.6 right now. Alright, next step is disconnect the gauges. I went as far as a DIYer can go without having a EPA license. But it just needs a slight charge. I'm gonna let the pros do that. My dad's a HVAC tech and so is my nephew. So they can hook up to this and charge it up, get it dialed in. But the install went really good. And even with the low charge, we're doing pretty good. We already dropped down to 70 degrees and it's 96 outside. Thanks for watching this one. Wasn't that easy? We got it done. Pretty good little upgrade there. I think with that little charge, everything's gonna work out nice and fine. Catch you on the next one.